today I want to talk about, or I guess I'll just give some context before. So I'll just do a little bit. I convert this to a video. It cuts off like the first minute or so. So I'm on my way to this band right now. It's always good to be around other band who are trying to, do something in life. It's pretty rare nowadays to find it. Another valuable thing to have ambitious men around you is that they actually hold you accountable, right? So if you say you're going to, it's very important that you actually do the shit, because that's the only reason. That's the only way that you build trust, right? It's the only reason you build a reputation. It's the only reason that you would build self-confidence, is because you know the person that you are, right? You are the person who you say you are. So, yeah, be accountable to yourself and do the shit you say you're going to do. It will help you be successful. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about the sin of ego, right? We're going to be talking about why ego is the enemy. Like literally, ego is the first sin in the Bible, right? Satan gets kicked out of heaven because of ego, right? He's jealous of all the humans and how God's giving attention to them. So Satan is literally expelled from heaven, right? Think about that in itself. What would it take to get expelled from heaven? Think about that. Like, heaven is a place that everybody gets to go to because of Jesus Christ, right? And it's literally free, and all you have to do is, commit to Christ. And it's literally, like, known to be free, and you've already earned it, right? It's been given to you through Jesus Christ. And Satan got kicked out of that for ego. That itself shows you the weight of ego, right? How bad of a sin it is and why it's the worst. First of all, right? It's a very good book. I would definitely recommend it. The 48 Laws of Power. And the first law is all about ego, right? A lot of them are, but the first law of power is never outshine the master. So, like, think about that. So what happens when you outshine the master? So the whole point of the first law is that if you outshine the master, it brings up insecurities. It makes them think that you're better than them, right? Because you're not supposed to be better than the master, right? They're the master for a reason. So you're never supposed to outshine them, because it brings out a lot of insecurities and all these negative things. And the reason that it's one of the laws of power in the book is that it could work against you. So if you outshine the master, then the master is not going to be wanting to be around you, right? Because you're shining him and you're always stealing the thunder. So you actually want to use it the other way. You want to, like, stroke their ego, and that makes them like you more. And that's how you use it to gain more power in the book. And that's all revolving around the ego, right? That's what we're talking about. So now that you know kind of what I'm talking about, I kind of want to share a bit of, like, personal truths. So I know this guy, right? He's pretty successful for his age, and he asked me, like, what could I do to be better? Right? Very good question to ask somebody who's more successful than you. What could I do to be better? What books do you recommend? And the book is funny because I actually recommended him The 48 Laws of Power. And as soon as I did that, he hadn't even read the book, right? He said he read, like, the first 10 laws. He immediately said, like, oh, that book is written by this guy, and, he's a phony, and I read all this stuff online. And it's like, who cares, dude? Right? That's your ego. It's saying, you're basically telling me you don't want to read the book, and you don't want to actually do the hard thing to learn and improve, right? Because you think you already know everything. Yeah, hot take, but even if Adolf Hitler wrote a book, you should probably still read that book, because, you don't want to be manipulated like he was able to manipulate a bunch of people. So if anybody composes their life work into a book, it's probably a wise idea to read it if that person is anything like what you want to be. Anyways, this guy asked me, what book should I read? I recommend him The 48 Laws of Power. He's very against it because he read all this stuff online and he thinks he knows everything, even though he hasn't read the book. And if you actually read The 48 Laws of Power, most of the examples that it gives are in the medieval century, like King Louis XIV time. And that's one of the points that he tried to make to me, was that, well, everything is so long ago, right? All these scenes were so long ago. Like, there's no way that could apply to today. And that right there is just it. That's your ego talking, right? Psychology hasn't changed much, right? The human brain has not changed much since we became humans. Like, it's different than a chimpanzee or whatever we were before. But human psychology is based in principles, and those principles have never changed, just like ego, right? So the reason that ego is so bad, as you can see in these two examples, that it just stops you from learning. It stops you from improving. It does. It just makes you think that you're better than you are, which is never good. Just overestimate yourself, and you push yourself. Right? Let's just say you bite off more than you can chew. Right? That's what happens when your ego is inflated. You bite off more than you can chew, and you look like an idiot, which is bad for your ego. So that is what happens when you have a big ego, and then a low ego. It's arguably worse, right? So if you have a low ego, you're never going to get anywhere in life, right? You don't have self-confidence. So it's kind of a sweet spot. But you don't want to have an ego. You want to have confidence. That's the main difference that we're trying to get at here. So an ego is saying, I know better. That's right. It's like saying, oh, I already need to pay attention. But that completely takes your ability to learn away. So if you want to have a successful life, a very successful above average life in any realm of life, you always want to be a student learning from others, right? I really like the idea that Warren Buffett has. Warren Buffett, he's one of the most successful investors of all time, and I think it's like you could buy a day with Warren Buffett for like $100,000. And if you listen to anybody who talks about buying a day with Warren Buffett, they always say, like, Warren Buffett just keeps asking you questions. Like, you think it would be that you bring a bunch of questions to Warren Buffett and you learn, right? No, Warren Buffett's always asking you questions. He's always learning from you. And he still wants to learn more, even when you're tired and you're like, all right, I've had enough. All these people, they say, he never stops asking questions. So you always want to be a student, because you're going to, like, the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop progressing in life. It's the moment you stop going in a positive direction in life. Now, if you're happy with where you're at and you want to stay exactly where you are in life, then yeah, I highly recommend maybe, you start having a bit of ego, because it's going to stop you from progressing. And I would only recommend that to somebody who's absolutely happy with where they are in life. But even then, for me, learning is the game, right? You always want to be learning, because it's about who you become. You can't have the life that you want until you are the person who deserves it. So it's all about becoming that person that deserves it, and that requires change and learning and no ego. So that's all I really got to say about that. The whole ego thing is, I would not recommend an ego to anybody who wants to be successful in any realm of life, right? It could be health, wealth, relationships, religion. If you want to be closer to God, or whatever religion you are, I would heavily argue against ego. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Comment down below any other topics you want to talk about. I'm probably going to be talking about some of the laws of power, just like this video, in the next couple of lives. But yeah, that's all I got to say. See you guys in the next one. Subscribe for more.